Aria stood in the center of the pack circle while her mate announced to 400 wolves that he was rejecting her for someone better. Someone stronger. Someone who could give him heirs. The bond snapped like a physical blow, sending her to her knees. Through the haze of agony, she saw her best friend step forward to take her place at his side. But before Aria could collapse completely, strong arms caught her. She looked up into silver eyes that had not spoken in 3 years. The silent alpha. He held her gaze while the pack watched and slowly, deliberately lifted her to her feet. Then he did something that shocked everyone. He placed his own jacket around her shoulders, marking her with his scent, and walked her out of the circle with her hand in his. The message was clear. If her mate would not protect her, the most dangerous wolf in the territory would. Subscribe now to witness how a woman broken by public humiliation becomes the mate of the wolf everyone fears. This is a story about finding strength in silence, about second chances with someone who sees your worth, and about proving that sometimes the quietest love is the most powerful of all. Chapter 1. 3 days before the rejection ceremony, Aria Blackwood stood in her small apartment staring at the invitation that had arrived that morning. The pack gathering would take place under the full moon. Mandatory attendance for all members. She knew what it meant even though the words were carefully neutral. Her mate was going to make it official. Garrett Stone was breaking their bond. They had been together for 2 years. Not fated mates, but chosen ones. Or so she had thought. Garrett was charismatic and ambitious. As the pack beta, he had his eyes set on becoming alpha one day. Aria had believed he loved her. Had believed they were building a future together. Then 3 months ago, everything changed. Garrett started pulling away. Stopped coming to her apartment. Made excuses when she tried to talk to him. She had felt the bond between them weakening, but she had not understood why. Until last week when she saw him with Rebecca. Rebecca, who had been her friend since childhood. Rebecca, who was the daughter of a powerful alpha from a neighboring pack. Rebecca, who could give Garrett the political alliance he needed to advance his position. Aria had confronted him. Asked him directly if he was leaving her for Rebecca. And Garrett had looked at her with cold eyes and said yes. But worse than that, he said he wanted to break the bond publicly. To make a statement. To show the pack he was choosing strength over sentiment. The humiliation would be complete. Public. Witnessed by everyone she knew. Aria had begged him not to do it this way. Had asked if they could break the bond privately. But Garrett refused. He said the pack needed to see him make strong decisions. Needed to know he put pack politics above personal feelings. And Aria being rejected in front of everyone would prove his commitment. Now she held the invitation and felt sick. She could refuse to attend. Could leave the territory entirely. But running would only make her look weaker. And she had her pride even if Garrett was about to shred it publicly. A knock at her door made her jump. She opened it to find her sister Elena standing there with concern written across her face. "You got the invitation," Elena said, stepping inside without waiting for permission. "Yes. Are you going to go? What choice do I have? If I do not show, it looks like I am running. Like I cannot handle it." Aria tossed the invitation onto her small kitchen table. "At least if I am there, I face it with dignity." Dignity. Elena's voice was sharp. "He is humiliating you in front of the entire pack, and you are talking about dignity. You should let me challenge him. Let me make him pay for this." "No." Aria touched her sister's arm. "That would only make it worse. Just be there with me. That is all I need." Elena hugged her fiercely. "I will be there. And when this is over, we are leaving this pack. You deserve better than this." "Maybe." Aria pulled back. "But first I have to survive the next 3 days." The day of the ceremony arrived too quickly. Aria dressed carefully in a simple blue dress. Nothing fancy. Nothing that would draw more attention than necessary. She braided her long red hair and kept her makeup minimal. She wanted to look composed. Strong. Even if inside she was breaking. Elena met her at the edge of the gathering grounds. The pack had assembled in the sacred circle, a clearing in the forest where important ceremonies took place. 400 wolves in human form standing in concentric circles. At the center stood Garrett. He looked handsome as always. Tall with sandy hair and brown eyes. He wore formal clothing that marked his status as beta. And beside him stood Rebecca. She was beautiful in a way Aria had never been. Confident. Poised. Daughter of an alpha. When Garrett saw Aria arrive, he smiled. Not a kind smile. A victorious one. The pack elder called for silence. The ceremony would begin with traditional words. Then Garrett would speak. Would formally reject Aria and claim Rebecca in front of everyone. The bond between him and Aria would shatter publicly. And she would have to stand there and take it. Aria moved to the center of the circle as tradition required. She stood facing Garrett while the pack watched. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought everyone must be able to hear it. The elder began the ritual words. Spoke of bonds and choices and the right of wolves to choose their mates. Each word felt like a knife twisting in Aria's chest. Then it was Garrett's turn. He looked at Aria with those cold eyes and began to speak. I stand before the pack to formally reject the bond with Aria Blackwood. She has been my chosen mate for 2 years, but she is not strong enough to stand beside me as I rise in the pack hierarchy. She cannot give me the heirs I need. Cannot provide the political alliances that will help our pack grow stronger. Therefore, I reject her. I cast her aside. And I claim Rebecca Thorne as my new mate. As my equal. As the one who will help me lead. The words hit Aria like physical blows. Not strong enough. Cannot give him heirs. The pack would know what that meant. She had lost a pregnancy 6 months ago. Had been devastated. And now Garrett was using it as justification to reject her. She felt the bond between them start to break. Felt the pain building in her chest. This was it. This was the moment she would collapse in front of everyone. Then something strange happened. As the bond shattered completely and the pain became unbearable, she felt other arms catch her. Strong arms that held her steady when she would have fallen. She looked up through tear-filled eyes and saw him. The silent alpha. His name was Riker Cross. He was 28 years old and had not spoken a single word in 3 years. No one knew exactly why. Some said trauma from losing his family. Others said it was by choice. But everyone knew that despite his silence, he was the most powerful wolf in the territory. His pack was small but fierce. And he commanded respect through presence alone. Aria had seen him at gatherings before but had never spoken to him. No one really spoke to him. He communicated through gestures and written notes and pack bonds. But he was watching everything. Always. Now he held her while the bond pain tore through her. His silver eyes met hers and she saw something there. Understanding. Fury. Protection. Slowly, deliberately, he lifted her to her feet. Kept his arm around her waist to hold her steady. Then he did something that made the entire pack gasp. He removed his jacket and placed it around her shoulders. It was a claiming gesture. Not a full mate claim, but a statement of protection. By marking her with his scent, Riker was telling the pack that Aria was under his protection. That anyone who hurt her would answer to him. Garrett's face went red with anger. You have no right. She is mine to reject. Riker did not respond verbally. He simply looked at Garrett with those cold silver eyes. And the beta who had been so confident moments before actually took a step back. Because everyone knew. You did not challenge the silent alpha unless you wanted to die. Riker held out his hand to Aria. She took it without thinking. Her legs were shaking from the bond break, but his grip was steady. Strong. He walked her out of the sacred circle while 400 wolves watched in stunned silence. He did not stop until they were far from the gathering. Deep in the forest where no one could see them. Only then did he release her hand and step back. Aria collapsed against a tree and finally let herself cry. The pain of the broken bond was excruciating. Like her chest was being torn open. She sobbed while Riker stood nearby. Not touching. Just present. A silent guardian. When she finally got control of herself, she looked up at him. Why did you help me? You do not even know me. Riker pulled a small notebook from his pocket. He always carried it. It was how he communicated when pack bonds were not enough. He wrote quickly and showed her. Because what he did was cruel. Because you deserved better than to fall in front of them all. Because I could. Aria read the words and felt something crack open in her chest. This stranger had shown her more kindness in 5 minutes than Garrett had in months. Thank you. Her voice was rough from crying. I do not know how I can repay you. Riker wrote again. You do not need to repay me. Just survive this. Get stronger. And do not let him break you. He is already breaking me. Aria touched her chest where the bond pain still burned. How do I survive this? Riker looked at her for a long moment. Then he wrote something that would change everything. Come stay with my pack. Temporarily. Until you heal. I will protect you. Give you space to recover. And when you are ready, you can decide what you want to do next. Why would you offer that? You do not owe me anything. No. But I know what it feels like to be broken publicly. To have everyone watch while you shatter. Riker's expression was haunted. I will not let it happen to you the way it happened to me. Aria studied him. This silent wolf who commanded such respect. What happened to you? Why did you stop speaking? Riker hesitated. Then wrote. My mate and children died 3 years ago. I spoke their names at their funeral. Have not been able to speak since. The grief took my voice. Maybe one day it will come back. Maybe not. But I survive. So will you. Tears filled Aria's eyes again, but this time they were for him. For this broken alpha who was offering to protect her even though he barely knew her. I accept your offer. I will come stay with your pack. Just until I heal. Riker nodded. Then he gestured for her to follow him. As they walked through the forest, Aria felt the bond pain begin to settle into a dull ache. It would hurt for weeks. Maybe months. But she would survive it. Because the silent alpha had caught her when she fell. And something told her he would not let her go until she could stand on her own. Chapter 2. Riker's territory was 20 miles from her old pack. Small but well defended. His pack numbered only 50 wolves, but each one was chosen carefully. Warriors. Healers. Survivors. Wolves who had been broken and rebuilt into something stronger. He led Aria to a cabin on the edge of the compound. It was simple but comfortable. 1 bedroom. Small kitchen. Large windows that overlooked the forest. He gestured that it was hers for as long as she needed it. Aria set down the small bag she had brought. Elena had packed it for her after hearing what happened. A few clothes. Some personal items. Everything she owned fit in 1 bag. She had left everything else behind. Left Garrett and Rebecca and the pack that had watched her humiliation. Riker handed her his notebook. There are healers if you need help with the bond pain. Food in the kitchen. My cabin is the large one in the center if you need me. Tomorrow I will introduce you to the pack. Tonight rest. Thank you. Aria took the notebook and handed it back. For all of this. I know it must be strange to have someone you barely know staying here. Riker wrote. Not strange. Necessary. You needed help. I could give it. That is what alphas do. But I am not your pack member. No. But you're under my protection now. That makes you mine to care for. He hesitated then wrote more. I know you are hurting. Know the bond pain is terrible. But it will fade. And when it does you will be stronger than before. How do you know? Because I survived it. And if I can, anyone can. He left her alone after that. Aria sat on the small couch and stared at the walls. The bond pain throbbed in her chest like a living thing. But underneath it she felt something else. A strange sense of safety. Of being protected. She had met Riker only hours ago, but already she trusted him more than she had trusted Garrett in months. Maybe it was because Riker had nothing to gain from helping her. Maybe it was because his own pain made him understand hers. Or maybe it was something else entirely. The next morning Aria woke to find a basket of food outside her door. Fresh bread. Fruit. A thermos of hot tea. A note attached said simply, "Thought you might be hungry." She ate slowly, savoring the simple meal. The bond pain was still there but duller. Manageable. She dressed in clean clothes and ventured outside. Riker's pack was already awake. Wolves moved through the compound with purpose. Training in the yard. Tending gardens. Repairing buildings. Everyone had a role. Everyone belonged. A young woman approached her. She had dark hair cut short and kind brown eyes. Hello. You must be Aria. I am Maya. The pack healer. Alpha Riker asked me to check on you. Hello. Aria managed a small smile. I am all right. Just sore. The bond break. Maya's expression was sympathetic. I have medicine that can help with the pain if you need it. Thank you. I would appreciate that. Maya led her to a small medical cabin and examined her. The bond break was clean at least. Painful but healing properly. Maya gave her a mixture to drink that tasted terrible but eased the pain almost immediately. Alpha Riker said you could stay as long as you need. Maya said as she put away her supplies. He does not offer that lightly. You must be special. I am not special. Just broken. We are all broken here. That is the point. Maya smiled. Alpha Riker collects broken wolves and helps us become whole again. You will see. Over the next few days, Aria began to settle into life with Riker's pack. She met the other wolves. Learned their stories. Each one had come to Riker broken in some way. Rejected mates. Lone wolves. Warriors scarred by battle. And Riker had given them all a place to belong. He checked on her daily. Never intrusive. Just present. He would appear at her cabin with food or supplies. Would sit with her in comfortable silence. And slowly she began to heal. 1 week after the rejection, Aria found Riker in the training yard. He was working with a young wolf, teaching combat techniques through demonstration since he could not speak instructions. He moved with deadly grace. Every strike precise. Every defense perfect. When he saw Aria watching, he gestured for her to approach. She did hesitantly. He handed her his notebook. Wanna learn to fight? Aria blinked. I am not a warrior. No. But you're angry. And anger needs an outlet. Let me teach you to channel it into something useful. She thought about it. About Garrett and Rebecca. About the humiliation. About the anger that simmered under her grief. Yes. Teach me. For the next 2 weeks, Riker trained her personally. He was patient but demanding. He pushed her past her comfort zone. Made her work until she was exhausted and sweating. But he never made her feel weak. Never made her feel like she was not enough. Unlike Garrett, who had constantly criticized. Who had made her feel inadequate. Riker saw her strength. Saw her potential. And brought it out of her. One afternoon after training, Aria collapsed on the ground, breathing hard. Riker sat beside her and offered her water. She drank gratefully. Thank you. For this. For everything. She looked at him. I feel stronger already. Riker wrote. You were always strong. You just needed someone to remind you. Garrett made me feel weak. Made me think I was not good enough. Garrett is a fool. Riker's handwriting was sharp. Angry. He had a treasure and threw it away for political gain. That says everything about him and nothing about you. Aria felt warmth spread through her chest. Why do you care so much? About me. About helping me. Riker was quiet for a long time. Then he wrote slowly, carefully. Because when my mate died, everyone watched. Everyone saw me break. And no one helped. No one caught me when I fell. I had to claw my way back to strength alone. I will not let that happen to you. I am sorry. For your loss. It was 3 years ago. The pain is duller now. But I remember what it felt like fresh. Remember the agony. He looked at her with those silver eyes. That is why I stopped speaking. The last words I said were their names. And after that there was nothing left to say. Do you think you will speak again? Maybe. If I find something worth breaking my silence for. They sat together as the sun set. And Aria realized something. She was falling for the silent alpha. This broken wolf who had caught her when she fell. Who was helping her piece herself back together. Who saw her worth when her own mate had not. But she was still healing. Still broken. And she had no idea if Riker felt anything for her beyond protectiveness. That night, Aria lay in bed and thought about the future. She could stay here with Riker's pack. Could build a new life. Or she could eventually return to her old pack. Face Garrett and Rebecca. Prove she had survived. But did she want to return? Did she want to face them? Yes, she realized. She did. Not because she wanted Garrett back. But because she wanted him to see what he had thrown away. Wanted him to understand his mistake. And she wanted him to see that she had survived. That the silent alpha had protected her when her own mate had not. She would go back. Eventually. When she was strong enough. But first she needed to heal. And Riker was helping her do exactly that. Chapter 3. 3 months passed. Aria thrived in Riker's pack. She trained daily, becoming stronger and faster. She worked with the healers, learning medicine. She helped in the gardens and kitchens. She made friends. She laughed for the first time in months. And through it all, Riker was there. Silent but present. Watching over her. Protecting her. Supporting her growth. They spent most evenings together. Sitting by the fire in his cabin. She would talk and he would listen. Sometimes he would write responses. Sometimes he would just nod. But she felt heard in a way she never had with Garrett. Garrett had always talked over her. Had dismissed her thoughts. Had made everything about him. Riker gave her space to be herself. To speak her mind. To exist without judgment. And slowly she began to realize something. She loved him. Not as a replacement for Garrett. But as himself. She loved his quiet strength. His patience. His kindness. The way he saw her worth even when she could not see it herself. But she did not know if he felt the same. He was protective, yes. But that could just be his alpha nature. He had not made any moves toward claiming her. Had not indicated he wanted anything beyond friendship. Maybe he still loved his dead mate. Maybe he would never be able to love anyone else. One evening Aria gathered her courage and asked him directly. They were sitting by his fireplace. She had been talking about her plans to eventually confront Garrett. To show him she had survived. And Riker had been listening with his usual quiet intensity. Can I ask you something? She said, turning to face him. Something personal. Riker nodded and picked up his notebook. Do you think you will ever take another mate? After losing your family? Riker's hand stilled on the page. For a long moment he did not write anything. Then slowly he began. I thought I never would. Thought that part of me died with them. But then I met someone who made me reconsider. Someone strong and brave who survived her own breaking. Someone I cannot stop thinking about. Aria's heart began to pound. Who? Riker looked directly at her. Wrote one word. You. The air between them changed. Charged with possibility. Aria could barely breathe. Me. Yes. You. Riker wrote quickly now as if the words had been building for months. Since the moment I caught you in that circle, I have been drawn to you. Your strength. Your grace. The way you survive pain with dignity. You are everything I did not know I needed. But I am broken. Damaged. My mate rejected me publicly. So am I, broken. Damaged. But maybe two broken pieces can fit together. Can make something whole. Riker set down the notebook and took her hands. His touch was warm. Gentle. Not demanding. Just offering. Aria looked at their joined hands. Then up at his face. Those silver eyes that saw too much. I am falling for you. I think I have been since you caught me. But I do not want to be a replacement for what you lost. You are not a replacement. Riker wrote with one hand while holding hers with the other. You are something new. Something I did not expect. Something I want if you will have me. I want you. Aria whispered. But I am afraid. What if I am not enough? What if you realize I am as weak as Garrett said? Riker's response was to pull her close. To cup her face gently. And then slowly giving her time to pull away, he kissed her. It was soft and careful. A question more than a demand. Aria kissed him back. Let herself fall into the feeling. Into him. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. Riker picked up his notebook. You are not weak. You never were. And I will spend every day proving that to you if you let me. Yes. Aria smiled through happy tears. Yes, let us try this. Let us be broken together and see if we can make something whole. That night marked a turning point. They did not complete a mate bond. Both agreed they needed time. Needed to build something real and lasting. But they were together. Partners. And the pack noticed immediately. Maya grinned when she saw them the next morning. Finally. We have all been waiting for Alpha to make a move. We were starting to think we would have to interfere. You knew? Aria asked, surprised. Everyone knew. Maya laughed. The way he looks at you. The way he protects you. It was obvious to everyone except apparently you two. Over the next month, Aria and Riker grew closer. They trained together. Ate together. Spent every evening together. And slowly, carefully, they built something real. Riker showed her his vulnerabilities. Told her through written words about the guilt he carried for not protecting his family. About the pain that stole his voice. About the fear that he would fail again. Aria shared her own pain. The loss of her pregnancy. Garrett's criticism. The public humiliation. And Riker listened to all of it without judgment. Simply held her when she cried. And helped her process it all. For months after the rejection ceremony, news arrived that shook everything. Garrett was demanding Aria return. He claimed she was still technically part of his pack since she had not formally transferred. He wanted her back within the week or he would come take her by force. The message arrived with a messenger wolf who looked terrified to be there. Riker read it with Maya and several other pack leaders present. His face went dangerously calm. The kind of calm that meant violence was coming. He cannot force her back. Maya said angrily. She is under your protection. He is claiming pack law. That she never formally left. Riker wrote. He is looking for an excuse to challenge me. To prove himself. Why now? Aria asked, reading over Riker's shoulder. What changed? The messenger cleared his throat. There are rumors that things are not going well between Beta Garrett and Rebecca Thorne. She is demanding more than he can give. And your old pack is asking questions about why he rejected you. Some are saying he made a mistake. So now he wants me back to save face. Aria felt anger rise hot and bright. Well, he can go to hell. Agreed. But we need to handle this carefully. Riker wrote. If he challenges me formally, I will have to answer. And I will not let him take you. Then we go to him. Aria said firmly. We go back to my old pack. I face him. And I show everyone that I survived. That I am stronger now. And that I am exactly where I want to be. Riker looked at her searchingly. Are you sure? Facing him will be painful. I am sure. I am ready. And I want him to see what he threw away. Want him to understand his mistake. Aria met Riker's silver eyes. Will you come with me? Always. Riker wrote. Where you go, I go. They prepared for a week. Gathered Riker's best warriors. Made plans. And finally they were ready. Ready to return to the pack that had witnessed Aria's humiliation. Ready to show them who she had become. As they walked toward the border, Aria felt no fear. Only determination. Because she was not the weak, broken wolf they had watched fall. She was stronger now. Powerful. And she had the silent alpha at her side. Let Garrett try to take her. Let him try to break her again. He would find she was no longer so easy to break. And the silent alpha would make sure of it. Chapter 4. They arrived at her old pack's territory at sunset. Aria walked beside Riker with her head high. Behind them came 20 of his best warriors. Not an army, but a clear message. Touch her and face consequences. Word of their arrival spread quickly. By the time they reached the pack center, a crowd had gathered. Aria saw familiar faces. Her sister Elena pushed through to hug her fiercely. You came back. Elena pulled away to study her. You look different. Stronger. I am stronger. Aria smiled. Thanks to him. She gestured to Riker, who stood silent and imposing behind her. The silent alpha. Elena's eyes widened. The rumors are true then. You are with him. I am. And I am here to formally transfer packs. And to tell Garrett he has no claim on me anymore. Garrett appeared, then pushing through the crowd. He looked worse than Aria remembered. Thinner. Tired. And angry. You dare come back here with him? After everything. After everything you did, you mean? Aria kept her voice calm. You rejected me publicly. Humiliated me. And now you want me back because things did not work out with Rebecca. But I am not coming back, Garrett. I am here to make it official. I am leaving this pack permanently. You do not have permission to leave. I am still your beta. You are not my anything. Aria felt Riker's presence behind her. A silent support. I am formally requesting transfer to the Cross Pack. Under the protection of Alpha Riker Cross. And unless you want to challenge an alpha over a woman you already rejected, I suggest you accept it. Garrett's face went red. You think you are so strong now. Think this silent freak makes you special. But you are still weak, Aria. Still not good enough. Before Aria could respond, Riker moved. Not violently. Just stepped forward to stand beside her. His silver eyes locked on Garrett with an intensity that made the beta actually step back. And though Riker said nothing, his message was clear. Speak to her like that again, and there will be consequences. The pack elder stepped forward. A formal transfer request must be witnessed. Beta Garrett, do you have grounds to deny it? Garrett looked between Aria and Riker. He was trapped and he knew it. If he denied it, Riker would challenge him. And everyone knew how that would end. The silent alpha was legendary. Garrett would not survive. Fine. Take her. She is worthless anyway. Garrett spat. You are welcome to my reject. That word. Reject. Aria felt it hit her chest. But this time it did not hurt. Because she was not a reject. She was chosen. By someone far better than Garrett could ever be. Riker must have felt her pain through their growing bond because he did something unprecedented. He turned to face the assembled pack. And for the first time in 3 years he spoke. His voice was rough from disuse. Deep and commanding. She is not a reject. She is the strongest wolf I have ever met. She survived betrayal with grace. Endured public humiliation with dignity. And built herself back into something remarkable. If you cannot see her worth, that is your failure, not hers. The pack gasped. The silent alpha had spoken. For her. To defend her. Aria felt tears sting her eyes, but she did not let them fall. Riker continued, his voice getting stronger. Aria Blackwood, I claim you as mine. As my mate. As my Luna, if you will accept me. Not because you are broken, but because you are whole. Not because I pity you, but because I love you. In front of this pack and my own I ask. Will you be mine? The world stopped. Everyone stared. And Aria realized what he was offering. Not just protection. Not just partnership. But everything. His pack. His position. His heart. She looked at Garrett, who was staring in shock. At Rebecca, who stood beside him looking pale. At her old pack, who had watched her fall. And she made her choice. Yes. Her voice rang clear. I accept. I will be your mate. Your Luna. Your partner. Because you saw my worth when no one else did. Because you caught me when I fell. Because I love you too. Riker smiled. Actually smiled. And it transformed his severe face into something beautiful. He pulled her close and kissed her in front of everyone. A claiming kiss. A promise. A declaration. When they broke apart, the pack was silent. Then Elena started clapping. Slowly others joined. Not everyone. But enough. Even some of Garrett's supporters looked impressed. Moved. The elder stepped forward. Then it is official. Aria Blackwood is transferred to the cross pack. She is no longer under our jurisdiction. And as the chosen mate of Alpha Riker, she is to be treated with the respect due to a Luna. Garrett made a sound of disgust and turned away. Rebecca followed him. But Aria did not care. She was free. Officially. Completely. And she had gained everything she never knew she wanted. They left the territory with Aria's belongings and Elena, who asked to come with them. Maya welcomed them both with open arms. The cross pack celebrated that night. A new Luna. A spoken alpha. And a family that grew stronger with every broken wolf they welcomed. That night Aria and Riker stood on the balcony of his cabin looking out at their territory. Our territory now. Are you sure about this? Aria asked. About claiming me as your Luna. That is a huge commitment. I have never been more sure of anything. Riker's voice was still rough, but beautiful to her ears. You are my second chance. And I will not waste it. Speaking of which. Aria turned to face him. You spoke. After 3 years. Why now? Because you were worth breaking my silence for. Because some things need to be said out loud. And because I wanted everyone to know. You are mine. And I am proud of it. Aria kissed him soft and sweet. Thank you. For catching me. For protecting me. For loving me. Always. Riker promised. From the moment you fell, I knew I would not let you hit the ground. And I never will. They completed the mate bond that night. Fully. Completely. And Aria felt the connection snap into place. Different from her bond with Garrett. Stronger. Real. Built on respect and trust and genuine love. When it was done, they lay tangled together. Aria traced the lines of Riker's face. Will you keep speaking? Or will you go silent again? I will speak when it matters. When you need to hear my voice. But I am comfortable with silence too. Is that all right? It is perfect. You are perfect. Well, not perfect. Broken and scarred and beautifully imperfect. Like you. Riker kissed her forehead. We match. They slept wrapped in each other. And for the first time since the rejection, Aria felt completely at peace. She had lost everything that day in the sacred circle. Her mate. Her place in the pack. Her dignity. But she had gained so much more. Real love. Real strength. A partner who valued her. And a future she had never imagined. The silent alpha had refused to let her fall. And in saving her, he had saved himself too. Because two broken pieces had fit together. Had made something whole. Something beautiful. Something worth fighting for. Chapter 5. 6 months after becoming Luna of the Cross-Pack, Aria had transformed the pack in ways no one expected. She brought in new programs for healing rejected wolves, established gardens and workshops, created a community where everyone had value regardless of their past. And Riker supported her in everything. His voice returned slowly, at first only with her, then with the pack during important moments. But he never lost the thoughtful silence that had defined him. He simply added words when they mattered. Together they were formidable. The silent alpha who had found his voice, and the rejected mate who had become a legendary Luna. News came that Rebecca had left Garrett, unable to handle his bitterness and anger. The political alliance he had wanted so badly had crumbled. And Garrett himself had been demoted. No longer beta. Just another warrior in a pack that had lost respect for him. Aria felt no satisfaction in his downfall. Only pity. He had thrown away something real for something hollow. And now he was paying the price. Elena flourished in the cross-pack. She found her place among the warriors. Even found a mate. A quiet wolf named Thomas who adored her fierce spirit. Their mating ceremony was joyful. Full of love and hope. And 2 months later, Aria discovered she was pregnant. She told Riker one evening while they sat by their fire. He went very still. Then pulled her close and held her like she was the most precious thing in the world. Are you scared? He whispered. After what happened before. Terrified. Aria admitted. But also hopeful. Because this time I have you. This time I am not alone. You will never be alone again. I promise. Riker's voice was fierce. I will protect both of you with everything I have. The pregnancy progressed smoothly. Maya watched over her carefully. And when Aria's daughter was born healthy and screaming, Riker cried. Actually cried tears of joy and relief. They named her Luna, after the moon goddess who had guided them together. She was perfect. Tiny with red hair like her mother and silver eyes like her father. And she was loved beyond measure. 1 year after Luna's birth, a messenger arrived from Aria's old pack. Garrett wanted to speak with her. Wanted to apologize. Aria almost refused. But Riker encouraged her to hear him out. To find closure. They met in neutral territory. Garrett looked broken. Aged beyond his years. When he saw Aria healthy and glowing, he flinched. You look happy. His voice was hollow. I am. Aria held Luna, who was sleeping, against her shoulder. What did you want to say? I wanted to apologize. For everything. For rejecting you. For humiliating you. For being so blind to what I had. Garrett's eyes filled with tears. I lost everything trying to gain more. And you gained everything by letting me go. Yes, I did. But not because of what you did. Because of what he did. Aria glanced at Riker, who stood nearby. Because he caught me when I fell. And he helped me become who I was meant to be. I was a fool. Yes, you were. But I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because I do not want to carry anger anymore. I am too happy to waste energy on the past. Garrett nodded. He is a lucky man. No. I am a lucky woman. There is a difference. She left him there. Walked back to Riker, who pulled her and Luna close. Ready to go home. More than ready. Aria smiled up at him. Take us home, Alpha. They returned to their pack. To their family. To the life they had built from ashes. And as Aria looked around at the wolves who had become hers, she realized something. The rejection had been a gift. Painful, yes. Devastating. But necessary. Because if Garrett had not broken her, she never would have found Riker. Never would have discovered her own strength. Never would have become the Luna who helped heal so many broken wolves. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you leads to the best thing. You just have to survive long enough to see it. That night, Aria and Riker put Luna to bed in her nursery. Then they stood on their balcony looking out at their territory. Their pack. Their home. Do you ever regret it? Aria asked. Taking me in. Claiming me. Changing your whole life for me. Never. Riker's voice was firm. You gave me back my voice. My heart. My future. You gave me everything I thought I had lost. You did the same for me. Aria leaned against him. We saved each other. Yes, we did. And I would do it again. Every time. In every life. Riker turned her to face him. I love you, Aria. Today. Tomorrow. Forever. Forever. Aria agreed. And she meant it. Because this was real. This was lasting. This was the kind of love that survived anything. The silent Alpha had refused to let her fall. And in doing so, he had given her wings. Together they had built something beautiful. Something that would last. And nothing could break them now. Not rejection. Not pain. Not anything. They were whole. They were home. And they were exactly where they were meant to be. 2 years later, the cross-pack had grown to over 100 wolves. All of them broken in some way. All of them healed by the Luna who understood their pain and the Alpha who protected them fiercely. Aria gave birth to a son. They named him Ash. He had his father's dark hair and his mother's spirit. And he was adored by his older sister Luna, who appointed herself his protector from day one. The pack thrived under their leadership. Other Alphas came to learn their methods. To understand how they created such loyalty. Such strength. And always the answer was the same. Love. Respect. And refusing to let anyone fall. On the 5th anniversary of the rejection ceremony, Aria stood in the sacred circle of her new pack. But this time it was not for pain. It was for celebration. For renewal of vows. For showing her children what real love looked like. Riker stood across from her. Silver eyes shining. Voice strong as he spoke vows that made everyone cry. I promise to catch you every time you fall. To see your worth even when you cannot. To love you in silence and in speech. Today and always. Aria's response was equally powerful. I promise to be your strength when you are weak. To hear you even in silence. To love the broken parts of you because they match mine. Today and always. They kissed while the pack howled. And in that moment, Aria knew. She had won. Not against Garrett. But against the pain. Against the fear. Against the voice that said she was not enough. She was enough. More than enough. And she had proven it every single day. The silent Alpha had refused to let her fall. But she had learned to fly on her own. And together they soared higher than either could have alone. As the celebration continued, Aria caught sight of Elena dancing with Thomas. Of Maya laughing with the children. Of all the broken wolves who had found home here. And she felt profound gratitude. Garrett's rejection had been the worst thing to ever happen to her. It had destroyed her old life. But it had built this new one. Better. Stronger. Real. She had been rejected publicly. Had been broken in front of everyone. But the silent Alpha had caught her. Had refused to let her shatter. And in doing so had given her everything. Love. Purpose. Family. Home. Everything she never knew she needed. Everything she deserved. And as Riker pulled her close for another dance, Aria sent a silent thank you to the moon goddess. Thank you for the breaking. Thank you for the pain. Because it led me here. To him. To this life. To everything. The goddess must have been listening because the full moon shone brighter, blessing them, approving, promising that their story was far from over, that more joy awaited, more challenges, more growth. But whatever came, they would face it together. The silent Alpha and his Luna. Unbreakable, unstoppable, forever.